Trying to decide between the Pikler triangle or the Nugget Comfort for your family? They're both popular options, but not only do they come with a high price tag, but they also take up quite a bit of space. My family owns both, and in this video I want to share with you my opinion on them to help you decide which to get. I'm Kevin, a father of two, a 3-year-old boy and a 1-year-old girl. Our family has been practicing the Montessori method for the past 3 years, and I'm here to share with you what I've learned on my journey. The Nugget is a fairly new toy versus the Pikler triangle, which has been around for 100 years. But they're both pretty good toys. Budget and space limitations are real problems that many of us face. I'm not going to go into too much details about each product, but just a brief summary and a big picture of what they're intended for, as it would require me way too long to kind of give you details and explanation of both products. The Nugget is a foam play couch that comes in multiple colors, ranging from $229 to $279 depending on the cover set you pick. The Pikler triangle, as the name implies, is a triangle-shaped climbing apparatus for your child to practice their motor skills. The price varies quite a bit on these as there are multiple manufacturers, but usually they're at least $200 or more. Prices vary even more depending on if you want to purchase a ramp or rocker to go along with it. I do have an in-depth review of these items individually, so go ahead and check that out after this video to learn more about the two. As I mentioned earlier, the Pikler has the option to purchase companion pieces like a ramp or rocker that add even more fun for your child. I have the wood and heart large set, which has the triangle, ramp, and rocker. Usually this set goes for $350 and up to $448 if you want a colored version. They are currently 50% off, which makes the price pretty attractive. But not sure when it sells in, so for the purpose of this video, I'll stick the comparison to the regular price. So definitely quite expensive if you get all the companion pieces, which I know that some might consider the full experience. The Nugget doesn't have any companion pieces, so for the lower cost of $229, your child can get a pretty fun experience. However, with just one Nugget, you will have to get a bit creative with the builds. Luckily, there are plenty of Facebook groups that share Nugget build ideas. You could always get an additional Nugget to make even more fun setups, but of course this is more money and takes up even more space. Personally, I think 2 Nuggets are the sweet spot though. I do have to warn you though, if you do purchase the Nugget, and I've seen from many other parents as well, it's very tempting to purchase at least a second Nugget. We're guilty of this ourselves as we currently have 3 sets. When it comes to the price, I wouldn't say one really wins out over the other. The Nugget is cheaper when purchasing just a single unit, but there are many brands of the Pikler triangle and they do go on sale every once in a while. I don't recall the Nuggets having a discount, at least not in the past 3 years. Appearance-wise, they're pretty different toys that cover different skill sets, but one of the biggest ones that they're both great for is climbing. The Pikler triangle is probably one of the safest ways for your child to explore climbing. You can easily spot your child as they learn. This is especially good if you have a baby or toddler that loves to climb. This way they have a place where they can climb and get it out of their system so they don't try to climb on something like a drawer that's not meant to be climbed. As your child starts to get better and better at climbing, they'll not only start to get stronger, but also increase their confidence in themselves. I'm not saying that the Nugget isn't safe for climbing, but it is only made of foam, so depending on your builds, it might not be the most stable. While I generally don't worry about my son or daughter falling from using the Nuggets, I do have to make sure that the builds are stable enough for them to climb. Both can be introduced to your child at a young age and last for several years. Typically, Pikler triangles can be introduced as young as 6 months old and last until about 5 years old, depending on the weight of your child. We introduced the Pikler at a much earlier age to our daughter when compared to our son, and not 100% sure if it's due to the Pikler, but she's definitely better at climbing and pulling herself up compared when my son was at the same age. The Nugget has no minimum age on when you can introduce them to your child. A newborn can use it for tummy time, while a toddler pretty much has almost endless ways to use it, and there's also no maximum. Once your child becomes too old or outgrows it, they can just use it as a couch. Until your child gets a bit older and stronger, probably 3 or older, they won't have the strength to handle Nugget larger pieces by themselves, so you will need to help them with the different builds. The 2 smaller triangular pieces are easy enough for most children to move around themselves, but the 2 flat pieces that fold aren't exactly easy to move around, especially for children with small hands. At this point, you're probably thinking, well, this is quite a bit of information, Kevin, but which is better for my family? Well, it's not exactly that easy to answer. If you notice that your child is really into climbing, then I would say that the Pikler triangle might be the better buy, as that's the main focus of the triangle. The Pikler triangle is pretty self-explanatory. Once you've built it, you don't need much to mess with it or even explain too much to your child. Your child can just start climbing. The biggest downside is that unless you get the companion pieces, the Pikler is pretty much just for climbing. Additionally, once your child or children outgrows the Pikler, there isn't too much you can do with it besides the usual give it to a friend, donate, or try to sell it. The Nugget shines in that the possibilities are pretty much only limited by your child's imagination. You can make fun things for them to climb, you can make a fort, or even a dining booth. There is no age or weight limit for the Nuggets. I've read that parents with teenagers, they love to use the Nugget to make their own comfortable area to sit and read or even watch TV. Personally, I've converted it to a couch in our play area to catch up on some shows after my children are asleep for the night. I want to point out that the Nugget and the Pikler triangle aren't interchangeable items. They do cover sort of similar ideas of climbing for your child. However, they're both very unique and both can serve great purposes for your child in learning. However, with that being said, I completely understand that there are some situations where there's a budget concern or even a space concern and you can only pick one. Well, if that's the situation, personally, I will lean towards the Nugget because it's just so much more versatile. One of the big things I really like about the Nugget is that your child really doesn't outgrow it. And if for some reason you do want to get rid of it, there's a big aftermarket or kind of like a Facebook market that you can sell it on where the value holds pretty good versus something like a used Pikler triangle. If you want to learn more about the Nugget or Pikler, check out my review videos. Let me know down below in the comment section which one you're leaning towards. If you've enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up and I'll see you in the next one.